There was a bishop, Catholic bishop, I think it was out in maybe San Francisco in Gavin Newsom's state, just maybe a week or two ago, had basically said that we're not going to meet for mass any longer for fear of federal agents disrupting our services. And making these arrests that, and so in so many words, what he was saying is we won't meet for church anymore.
Right.
Okay. Now think about the opposite happened during COVID.
Yeah.
You could, the arrests were being threatened, fines, jailings, all of that. And John MacArthur is saying, and others are saying, we're going to meet for church. And now they're saying, no, because of this, we're going to shut down our community, our faith community. I'm thinking, well, wait a second. If you're standing on truth, why wouldn't you just do it boldly?
Right.
Be a Daniel in the moment.
Right.
But here's the irony, Virgil. So literally what he's saying is those who are here illegally, who do not have a right, who broke the law to enter the country, I'm going to go ahead and shut down our church, not meet, in order to protect those who have violated the sovereign laws of that country.
Yeah.
Okay. There's another case. I think it was a Southern Baptist pastor at a church in, it was in Tennessee. I know the name of this one. I'm probably not going to, for the sake of our podcast, mention his name. But essentially, he had shared before the congregation
I remember
that
this.
ICE could come in at any point and disrupt the service. And I'm like, look, based on how, so maybe a Christianity Today subscriber, maybe somebody was getting their talking points from the Dispatch or from Russell Moore's basement. But like that individual is committing spiritual malpractice.
Absolutely.
Because he's actually from a pulpit and from a place of authority is actually saying spreading the fears and the lies and the propaganda of the left. That is not happening. There has not been a case of that actually happening. And that's completely irresponsible. And what is, I think the real outrage is that this is a Southern Baptist church. You're smarter. You know this. You're smarter than that. You can read.
You almost expect mainline Christianity, and I put that in air quotes because most of the mainline denominations are so far off of the beaten path. But you kind of expect that from kind of what you see in mainline Christian circles. The idea that the God that they serve is not the God of the Bible, but the God of the immigrant, right? That they're actually worshiping at the altar of social justice, rather than anything that representing biblical Christianity. So you kind of expect to see them do those kinds of things and shut down churches. Why? Because you don't have to. The God of the Bible doesn't deserve to be worshipped if the bigger God of immigration can't be served. And so that you see that happening on that end. When it comes to a Southern Baptist pastor, it just shows how embedded and how pervasive the whole social gospel actually is. How social justice since 2020 has permeated so much of culture that the idea that the highest order is the victim, the one that should be served is who, and it's not who's officially been victimized, right? It's the one who we've determined based upon some virtue signal is the person that is the victim. That's the person of the highest order.
And this is Marxism. This is the Marxist dialectic, because if you take somebody who's an innocent girl like a Laken Riley and you say, well, that person is the oppressor class, clearly, because she's white, she's female, cisgender, you name it. These are the very people that the left vilifies. And so that you dehumanize that person.
So you can justify all kinds of behavior.
All kinds of evil, like, I'm surprised that just happened. She deserved X, Y, and Z. These other things,
She's had white privilege all her life, so what's the big deal?
Exactly. And so you actually heard a lot of that over the whole Iran and Israel situation, even more recently, who does and doesn't deserve justice.
I mean, we should be clear-eyed about this. right? This shouldn't be confusing. This isn't. Man, I need a doctorate or D-Min or an MDiv to figure this one out. Like, you can look at sojourners and understand that they were those who had been with Israel, had come alongside Israel, had adopted their culture, had adopted their nation's ideas, had assimilated into the culture, were a part of who they were. Israel didn't have these laws and boundaries and borders at the time, and so all of this was a part of who they were as a people. So the idea that these are somehow illegal aliens who entered the country, through whatever means, and don't desire to assimilate, have no desire to really participate in the cultures, in the nation's culture. It's foreign. That idea is foreign to Scripture.
And this is not Corey Ten Boom like hiding from the Nazis. No. This is not in any way related to that. And by the way, false equivocation abounds. The inability to math this out ethically is a big part of the leftist tactics.